What's up, pals? I need to address my past vlogs. I'm the old man who broke down and posted his life story online, not just to brace my will to fight for a place in the world, but to roast the shame and guilt imposed by society. I didn't want anyone in a rough spot to spend life feeling like a burden. If the system accepted its people come from vastly different economic and family backgrounds, instead of maintaining the one-size-fits-all rat race of whoever has more money is a better person, we'd grow up as a culture. We'd all feel genuine reason to work and live, not image or anxiety. Since we're increasingly made to compete for a decent living, which kills any healthy social life, it's much harder to escape drugs and suicide to end the pain. It's reported now even kids increasingly worry about burnout with schoolwork and their future. I also posted everything for science, to give data to anyone serious about psyche. I wanted to see in myself what self-changes would occur after making my past public, even if I got worse. I just felt dead not showing my full self. There's no life but honesty in the end. I'll first say why I've focused so much on individuals in my stories. Answer is, I've felt how underrated a topic it is that we as individuals adopt status and hustling as personality, and by extension, an increase in narcissism. I wanted to show first-hand experience. If you check out Byung-Chul, the professor who wrote The Burnout Society, he has great detail on why we feel so much despair and see so much narcissism in the modern age. There's plenty about him on YouTube. The channel Philosophize This did a great job covering him. I call out greed and apathy in anyone, not just billionaires. Knowing our culture is fundamental to working together. Indiscriminate hustling to gain favor in society has killed our love and trust for each other in general. I vlogged what I felt was the most immediate threat to mental health. I did my best to communicate my message, but I'm still worried. I felt obliged to be transparent out of respect to everyone and myself. I went into this thinking many would hate me. I befriended mostly folk who understood. I won't forget you guys. I held back a lot of pain when thinking of what to say, so some of it was rough. I mentioned therapy before without saying why it upset me. I'm glad for people therapy helps. I was just venting for myself. In short, I went for major suicide thoughts and got shocked at how vague and short sessions were. The schedule was rare, too. I guess in America, you have to pay for a good one. It reminded me of how little professionals did to stop where I was headed as a kid. Folks at school even used it to gaslight my sanity instead of being responsible for their own actions. In the end, I just had to focus my principles and keep occupied with constructive activity until I felt my dreams and direction mattered again. It left me with a sick feeling of not wanting to seek that kind of help anymore. Same with my mention of pronoun users. I vented just those who shunned me for accidental misgendering, not all of them. Lastly, when I asked if people should be isolated to no respect, I didn't wish it upon viewers. It was a real question that disturbed me. But anyway, I hadn't been smooth with every video. I didn't make clear that some vlogs were annotated throughout, though I shouldn't expect people to keep it open while listening. Worse, the concepts I wanted to explain in number 5 were only introduced in the next vlog. My videos exist to provoke thought, not to make people like me. I didn't praise all my actions, nor one political system over another. One of my main themes was how lifelong alienation leads to personal madness and needing to escape, giving account of how coping held up to that. The culture of internalizing suffering as our own personal fault, no matter our story, was always going to lead to the fragmented community we have now. My faith in my character kept me company through loneliness to where I was still functional and forgiving. It took years of unprovoked slander from others that I then felt. If I didn't expose everything and fight back, I could have ended myself or burdened my mom. It's the most worthless feeling. I had so much aspire and reason to live for myself from day one, but it takes so much more than that to cope, depending on circumstance. It doesn't feel right for me to gamble reality on hoping God is real and He'll take care of evil for us one day either. I think humanity should see this is our one life, to feel the urgency of what's happening. I'm willing to fund projects for social change. I just wish I had a better way than training to be a pro boxer. No matter how much cope or hard exercise, I'm weak in the legs from grief just to stay motivated. I'm still healing nerve damage in my face from fight training. I only don't give in because it would insult my dreams. I detailed my story's struggle to prove I wasn't half-hearted about encouraging anyone who feels in hell right now. There was hate toward my story vlogs. It was the bit of me keeping a love letter I wrote. Not sexual, just words I kept as a token of hope, to remind me a truly kind and flattering crush existed once. I got told how creepy it was in a classless tone, beside being told my story was a pity party and so on. Just to be clear, I've always taken an active approach to solving my problems. They also asked, what if someone did that to you? I asked several people if keeping the letter was creepy. No one thought so. I've had men approach me at night asking to feel me up for money. I've been kissed without permission by several people. I've been called gay for not liking a girl right in front of her. I know true discomfort. I'd be glad someone kept kind words about me, even if I didn't like them. This is what has me scared for empathy. Culture made expressing feelings and pain shameful, especially for men. I felt no choice but to start boxing to prove we're not weak for it. I'll make everything a book if I get far enough. I didn't detail people in my story to get back at them. There needed to be more personal experience to humanize what's going on. I could no longer help it. So no, I'm not some bitter creep. Any petty remark I made was to show how cornered my worth feels after what happened. I have charisma in person. I just needed to vlog serious feelings. It felt morally wrong to not show how personal reality is in the face of how much apathy is trending. I fear apathy is taking over everything. I felt if I didn't detail what past people did, their actions would just be normalized. I can't afford to drop my attitude toward them because I need it as motivation to survive and fight hard, to outshine the crude example they left on the world. I feel too surrounded by manipulation and the fight for resources to feel much positivity. My physical nerves felt all worn out for many years now. I guess my friends in the last video were the last straw. I'm terrified of anyone who hides behind fake or forced positivity after what they did. I read that kind of toxic positivity is a stereotype for Americans. I don't mean everyone, but it makes sense considering my friend was able to bastardize Eastern meditation into something that wasn't even reflective. There's nothing sacred we won't use to take advantage or use for pride. It was a panic to vlog everything fast as I can to feel safe from any more abuse, because of who tried to smear me out of college. The same person who led me on into romance, only to bully and cheat me within days of intense flirting. College was my community, and I'm tired of seeing someone's status decide the truth of what happened. When she faked my own childhood story to the college staff to try to prove I was physically dangerous, I felt my worth in childhood was at war with the world. This sort of thing just always happened, so it piled onto my conscience till I knew I shouldn't keep trying to fit in. When that school staff took sides without proof or good cause, it reminded me I'll always be disposable to society. They didn't ban me, but made me unwelcome. That's not humanity. I couldn't go back in good conscience after. They did ban a disabled friend of mine from school grounds, falsely accusing him of stalking for visiting his favorite place. It was one of the worst things he ever felt. Just another day for a school that loved to harp about inclusion. It was just too much negativity from the privileged after what I already lived. I could no longer spend the rest of my life sucking up to people who stood for nothing. I'm not saying you should ditch school. My self-worth survived after by believing I had a special purpose. So if I sound full of myself, know that I hate being this person. Without that belief, I'd give up living from the lifelong pattern of slander. The point is, my dreams feel empty without people to share them with. Since then, I felt forced to shed light with videos to not physically feel buried in trash. I've been shamed out of school as a kid too, so it's not something I can just let go of. It needed to become a voice that fights for anyone bullied or outcast, so I could feel meaning again. I told my dating story because I've seen that level of abuse in stories all over. Love has sold out to just using people. Being punching bag for someone who had many exes and learning their mom methodically wanted me bullied from the start so I'd be her daughter's pet was a special gutted feeling where I realized I wasn't just lonely, but singled out to be used. Out of all her exes. Whoever wrote the book they kept on how to emotionally break a man should be jailed. I was singled out for what her exes did. I tried to vlog how being held responsible for their gluttony, hers included, killed my sanity. Especially knowing I was singled out. They never cared to know each other as people, just tools for instant sex. Instant sex can get you emotionally attached to bad people since it's addictive, which led to full relationships. It made them bitter, training prejudice toward me once we flirted. The society we have encourages that we see each other as mere tools for pleasure and work. Tools are currency. That's what our system thinks creates the most wealth. Selling our soul. That's how even touch or affection keeps growing as a profit industry that devalues real affection. In truth, it just moves wealth and status toward the least empathetic people who think they have the most to sell of themselves or others. It creates just loneliness and addiction. So much was just consumption in this world, and I thought romance was a spiritual place above that. Still, I'll always fight for the real thing. If even something deep as intimacy has been steeply reduced to instant gratification, there's no choice but to fight for a better world. I couldn't have felt more worthless and wanted to die once shown mutual attraction was empty the one time I wasn't single. I was starving for affection, so being punished for the self-indulgence of others felt like a landfill. I felt I could never get clean after. Her being my only experience left me the most insane trauma, but I'd never take it out on strangers. Easily stacking partners made her take people for granted, which is standard attitude in dating. Knowing that makes me feel more alone and unrelatable. When it comes to guys who afford to neglect their partner, I hope they wake up. All of the times I had the courage to confess my love over the years, I've been told I'm too good to be true or believed when it comes to making someone happy. Every love letter was read as a lie rather than getting to know me. It's loners who bear the shame of others' gluttony when we confess. I cannot express how low that feels, knowing I rate my worth by how much I care about someone. Rejection doesn't hurt me, just prejudice. It's the norm to not care to know each other. Same for friendship. I'll risk my life fighting for every word through my career, hoping love and friendship feel real to me one day. Anyway, I somewhat already feel lost. My efforts to feel wanted or human felt degrading. It may be especially so if I succeed at boxing. I feel like a commodity in any work. I fight in the first place because I began to feel I'm nothing more than a freak who belongs in combat. The mental violence at my college was just more shameless than fighting. This may be my last way forward. I've been told about meditation plenty. I visited a master at a temple fort before. The experience was similar to how I often sat with and defined my feelings since I was young. I chose to keep my own methods. I always focused on isolating each of my feelings and rationalizing them into something meaningful or motivational, no matter how awful the feeling was. My best hope will always be my romantic dream. It always kept me going more than anything. I'll clutch that till I'm dead. That's all my chest has for now. I'll end on some news. I doubt I'll do more fights on Street Beefs. Sorry I didn't take advantage of it to say something inspiring. I played clown to get comfortable. Those fights were my warm-up. I have to focus on being coached now to get paid to box. It feels crazy to begin at 30, but I need its publicity to fight against the culture of apathy. I can barely pay a coach, so I easily imagine it killing me too. I hadn't given up, so take care.